He looks at you and says, "Feuds are apparently not the same, because this time the servant that killed Bolly was found dead in a hut. Was found dead in the middle of the land, and he was dismembered, and in such a cruel and vicious way that I cannot even begin to describe. And the fact is that just the night before, I swear I could hear the voice of Polly screaming and pleading for vengeance as he was just rising from his grave and shouting the name of his murderer and asking for vengeance. And I checked where we buried the corpse of Bolly, but everything was alright. And yet that scream torments me. My wife says I had some nightmare over the vile act perpetuated on this land, but I swear that I recall this kind of scream. Maybe I was dreaming, but it was so real. And then the killing, and that killing is like someone with an immense hatred attacked the servant that killed Bolly and mold him in such a cruel and vicious way I can even begin to describe. And this is the beginning of something that we cannot stop, because this man, the servant Bard that killed Bolly, the servant of Eshna, wasn't killed in a feud, wasn't killed openly. He was killed in the middle of night where no one else was seeing. And this is not an act of justice or revenge. This is homicide. And I fear that the repercussions will be terrible for our community.
So both servants are dead, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
One was killed in a feud, the other was found dead.
Right, mutilated in some way.
Yeah.
And then, but I'm going to keep pressing. In order to help, we must know more than just the premonitions and dreams of one man. I'll speak to Arndis. Arndis, perhaps you can tell my companions, because I'm being all gendered here. Perhaps you can tell my companions of the fears and what you have seen, what you fear now in the night outside of your home.
Before she replies, she looks at her husband, looking for permission to speak. So she kind of like have a quick glance at her husband, and then she says reluctantly, "I fear that we might be trapped in this kind of. I fear that the dead will keep taunting and pressing us to continue this circle of violence, and I don't know if more dead bodies will keep piling and uh, start pressing us to commit these atrocities. And as the spirit of vengeance that I'm not sure was as the killing of Bardo, I'm not sure it was the work of a man. Will just keep us killing us. Will just keep killing us and taunting us to exact revenge on our neighbors.
How many have
And
died since the two servants?
yeah,
What acts of violence do we know has have occurred since then?
there were no other acts of violence, and except that fear and hatred are mounting. My husband is trying to soothe the spirits of the community, but servants talking about exacting revenge on these unwanted on these killings, and I believe that Esja will be the one that moves, the first one to move, and the first one to uh, demand revenge for the killing of his servant, and we fear that this may go too far. This may go too far to the point of escalating to a war.
Fellow stalkers?
Yeah, so I would like to listen as well the version of Heya. I hope to have pronounced it well.
Yeah, I don't know. Asia.
We will all do our best throughout. Right.
Asia, yeah. And privately, I would like to say to both Lilith and Hazard, I think so. I tell them in private. I think this unbeaten feeds on the grudges between these clans, families. But I don't know whether they deceive themselves between them or the unbeaten lives outside the community. And
this time I'm going to focus more heavily on the enigma. And
Lilith is going to say they speak as though they're trapped already in, the story and the saga. Perhaps that is the evidence of an enigma.
Also, a good sign here, though, we're here a lot earlier in the human crisis than we were last time.
Yeah.
So we can focus very heavily. We have the chance to, we aren't dealing with a whole city on fire.
Good point. Yeah. We can stop these.
We can. Now. Maybe we have a chance to do some more direct human good here. But as far as I can tell, our first step, I think, is with you, Witch. The Grey Witch has the first role here. I think that there is a dead person you need to talk to. And it's the servant who did the first killing and was found mutilated. Yeah. I think you need to talk to that dead guy. That seems like the place where the essence is is bleeding into our situation. At least that's the only evidence, the only indication.
Yeah. So good point.
Yeah, it's so. Until then, perhaps we should continue to integrate into the community. I don't know how many other people will go for us being the gods, though. But do we want to start interacting with the brother, the other family, the Edya, or do we want to just travel to maybe that guy's burial site? The second servant, the one who was mauled so horribly. Where is he buried? Where are his remains?
Yeah, it's a good idea, I think, to interview the who was involved in the first skirmish and has been killed to have more information. But I would like to listen also the other side of the story. Perhaps it will help us to triangulate where is the enigma here. So
Yeah, this is not really our strong suit of socially connecting with people. None of us are. Maybe we'll just have to do our best to get along, at least for a little while. All right.
okay, so I asked to okay, let me check again the name. Togrim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where is buried the corpse of the killed slave?
Yeah.
And who was in? And where are the people involved in the first skirmish?
You can see that there are. I don't know if you noticed on the moment you entered the longhouse, there were several farm seats on your right, and they are respectively on the house of my brother Angrim. Then we have the house of Turit, and
Okay.
finally the property of Esja.
Mm-hmm.
And there are, of course, many people. Maybe you would like to be introduced. I can help. And if you would like to visit the burial of the servants, we bury our dead near they're not close here. They're in the mountains. So we kind of bury them as distant as possible.
Sure.
And
we need to. We should trek over there, I think. The question is, considering the dangers of an unbidden, if there is one, and whatever dangers there are of the enigma, which could also be considerable, splitting up is probably a really bad idea.
No, I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I do think that talking with that mutilated victim, because as important as these people may find it, some servant insulting the wife of the rich guy and then getting killed, in retaliation. I hate to say it, but that's just normal around here. That's normal. That's what they call, you notice he said vengeance and justice to them. It's just, it's just the same. So that's normal. The weirdness comes in with the dream and the mutilation. That guy. That's our guy.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, if we start to go around the community talking to people, we begin to enmesh ourselves in this local familial politics. I'm thinking right now we remain mysterious. We let our we let our story grow a bit, and hopefully, if people think there's spirits or gods interacting with the priest, they might be holding off on some of their machinations and plotting.
And also, if we, I see what you mean. We'll only be putting our status at risk if we go around, chatting.
Trying to charm people.
Right? I mean, we will ultimately, to get along, very circle of hands. To get along, we're going to have to make that charm roll ultimately.
Yeah, but in case it fails, we can delve in their minds.
Right, but we'll get there. But I think maybe Lilith, I think you're saying let's go hit that gravesite. Let's go check it out.
Yeah.
Let's go into the mountains.
Yeah.
Perhaps we can ask the sun to bring us there. If they say that, is it moving? Is it getting on to evening, Adriano? Is it becoming?
Oh
evening?
no, we're still in the. It's not getting darker. So
in that case,
you can still move in full light.
In that case, perhaps Thorstein can take us to the graveside, unless he is needed for sheep herding and other things like that. In which case, perhaps a servant.
And Thorgrim says, "Nonsense! Just recall my son, and he will help you with your search. Excellent. I can also give you my servant if needed."
No, let's you guys keep as many people as you can. If you are in danger, if the feud blows up, you'll need as many people as you can. We must go and speak to the dead.
It's some sort of bold declaration, and I'm not even sure that
it seems to kind of. I want to kind of keep up the mystery of it all, you know.
Yeah.
And
he follows you outside.
I just hate leaving them alone. You know, I mean, we'll come back and they're all going to have their heads on sticks or something, right?
Yeah, that's my fear as well.
I know, but we're stuck. We have to go talk to the dead guy. I just can't see any other.
Yeah, because it's the only way to have first-hand evidence in one way or another. Otherwise,
otherwise we're going to get caught up in their goddamn court cases, you know. And
exactly. Yeah. We must go straight to the first witness, although.
Yeah.
Not an alive witness.
Hey, you're a master of delve. They're all witnesses.
Yeah. Okay, so I agree with Ezra's plan. I think it's the most reasonable course of action. So let's do this.
Thorgrim recalls his son, and it takes a while because he's very distant. He shouts and then just goes ahead.
He's got sheep.
And
busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when he comes, you can see that I will say that he's a small boy. Like not so much. 15, maybe 16. So it is almost adult for this community.
Right.
And certainly has a lot of work to do, just like the adults of it. And